Welcome everyone. Today, together with partners, we're presenting a second webinar about food export opportunities from Kazakhstan to Singapore. Thank you for joining. The first one was in April 23rd, and at that time, we gave opportunity to all Kazakhstani companies who wants to enter Singapore or Southeast Asia, overall solution that we're providing. Today, we're going to go deeper and we're going to focus on three major industries within the food industry. It's a cereal, it's oilseeds, it's fruits and nuts. So we actually invited all distributors in Kazakhstan and in Singapore, but also producers from Kazakhstan in this area to participate in this webinar. My name is Ahmed. I'm a founder and executive director of Sawa Strategy. It's a Singapore-based company. And today, together with me, we have Aybek Saganayev, we have Sudev Ramanchandra, Aziz Janbakiev, and also Sudev's partner and colleague, Rafi. And together we will explain about opportunities for Kazakhstani export producers who wants to export abroad. So let us start. First of all, Sawa Strategy is based in Singapore. We incorporated company this year in January 2020, but the root goes back to 2015. We're focusing to support small and medium enterprises to enter Southeast Asia and Central Asia. So anyone, any SME who wants to enter both of this market, we're ready to support, starting from industry analysis to partner due diligence, to market entry design, business translation, and recently we also introduced a service on online events. So this year we're focusing on two industries, food industry and education industry. So regarding the food industry, our major focus is solution that we're going to present today again. For this time, we did deeper research and then, so what are the key drivers right now? What are the opportunities for exporters to do business in Singapore? So the first driver, as we can see, is active engagement in import diversification. As you see, the pandemic changed the structure. So right now, Singapore wants to make sure that there are more sources of food, and they're looking for opportunities in other countries that they didn't collaborate more. Like for example, right now we can see that we see the shipment of eggs from Poland, but usually eggs were just at nearby countries. Also, we see that there is some more increasing in health consciousness among consumers. So we see that the study conducted by Nielsen found that nearly 2/3 of Singaporeans are seeking for healthier diet. And I think more on that, Sudev will discuss later, but there's a special label that is dietary good, yes, by Singapore government. So
that's right.
Those products have a bigger, have higher chance to penetrate the market. But also the sugar volume is considered on the same with the price. So what does it mean? It means that the price is also important for decision making, whether they will buy this food or not, but sugar level is too very important. So please consider that. And also as it goes along with the second point, the third point is government policy for healthier diet. Here we have a beverage with poor grades will be banned on media platforms. And I think again and again, Sudev and Rafi will discuss it more. And we see that those products who are entering Singapore and they're healthy, they will get a government support on that too from Singapore government. Okay. The next is why cereals, why oilseeds, why fruits and nuts, you will ask me. We looked at the Singapore imports for the last year, and we look at the Kazakhstan exports for the last year, for the last years. And what we have found that the kind of trend where the imports low or high in Singapore, and where the exports from Kazakhstan are highest. So we found that, for example, oily seeds, Singapore imports, as you can see on the number by value, 67 million US dollars. And oily seeds are divided in 1 to 3 categories, whether it's linseed, rapeseed. And then we see that for oily seeds, Kazakhstan exports numbers $426 million. Yeah. So we see that Kazakhstan can produce it, and right now we just bring their attention to this market because we see that not so many imports come from that, and that's a gap. If you look at the cereals, you see Kazakhstan exports is 1.3 billion. It's actually one of the highest, and I think Aziz can also comment on that later in his discussion. But also fruits and nuts, of course, the neighboring countries provide the most to Singapore, but based on Kazakhstan and overall Central Asian focus, they also produce a lot of fruits and nuts, especially dried nuts. Here, of course, one of the leaders could be Uzbekistan. Later, we'll discuss with them too, but today is focused on Kazakhstan only. So you can discuss into detail. The source is Observatory of Economic Complexity. It's a project by MIT. They visualize all the data from different countries, import-export. So we found it's a good source. So now I want to give a floor to Sudev Ramachandran. He's co-founder and managing director of Business Engineers Asia. He will go into detail about how to bring your products to online stores in Singapore. It's Redmart, it's Zmart, it's NTUC Fair Price. Sudev, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us in this particular webinar. I think the first and most important point that I want to bring across is the fact that Business Engineers Asia, our focus pretty much comes with this motto that we have, and that motto is, we are sellers helping sellers. And what do I mean by that? When we started out this business, when we started out our business, we had no experience in retail. My partner was actually in the engineering field. I was in the education field. And when we decided to get into this retail market, one of the biggest challenges we faced was the fact that getting into Singapore's regulatory processes was a challenge. The second thing is getting into our brick and mortar shops, the stores, the malls, the supermarkets. All of this came at a very high cost. Cost of living in Singapore is very high. And when we started, we were small. We didn't, every dollar counts or every cent counts. So we wanted to make sure that we enter with as little money as we can spend and try to maximize our output in terms of our sales. And when we went through the hardship, we realized that, hey, there is an opportunity here to do a business in which we can help others who are taking that step or taking that journey to begin with. So this is where we started our whole process. So when we started in a small storeroom, and from then, back in 2018, when we started this process, we are now in 4 warehouses, and pretty much we are focused on the fast-moving consumer goods, okay? So when we're looking at that in the Singapore context, one of the most interesting growths, if I could mention that, is the fact that we are very focused on the health and wellness. In fact, last year, before the pandemic actually hit Singapore, our government itself, as a national directive, was pushing this idea of us going into a healthy lifestyle, and our focus was on trying to beat diabetes, which was becoming a very growing problem in Singapore. So one of the first most important things that we need to take into account is, being a first world country, being a very developed country, everything is fast moving. Everyone wants quick results. Everyone wants things to be easy, quick to get on the go, along those lines. So when we started looking at those concepts, we realized that two big challenges came across. One, reaching out to the markets, and two, the cost of reaching out to the markets. And that's when we decided we wanted to go on with the online platform. Now, why the online platform? Number one, it's more cost effective. Number two, it really gives you the reach, because as long as somebody has a smartphone, they're able to get access into this. So we thought that this was the area to be. And Ahmed mentioned earlier on about Redmart, Zmart, and all that, NTUC. These are all online platforms. They are the top online platforms in Singapore, and that's where we want to go. That's where we have partnered ourselves with, and we provided a solution. We came up with a solution, and this solution is a very simple solution. It's called the Business Entry Program, the Singapore Incubator Series. Now, if you look at the word incubator, it basically is in reference to a hen sitting on eggs, and you want to keep it in a nice, safe environment, something that will help them to be prepared and ready to grow and to hatch and grow. So in a similar fashion, if you look at this model that you're seeing right now, if you look at yourself, you'll be under that seller component. Now, what BEA, Business Engineers Asia, BEA is all about is working with Sawat. We want to bring your products over to Singapore. Now, there's a key reason why we want to use Singapore. Everybody knows that Singapore is the gateway to Asia. Now, Singapore's population is only about 6 million or just slightly under that. Now, it may not be much, but if you consider these facts, Southeast Asia is about 650 million people, okay? And every country in Southeast Asia, the people who live in these countries, they have a huge presence here in Singapore, because Singapore is a very cosmopolitan country. We take expertise from all these countries. And what we have found over the years is if you can get into Singapore and you manage to clear all the strict regulatory conditions, it is to a certain extent a mark of quality. And if your products are selling in Singapore, a very good chance that the countries where these foreign expertise are coming in from, their countries will eventually get to know about your products, all right? And so if you look at this model, how does it work? Very simple. You get your products over to Singapore, to our warehouses. Our support to you is we will help you to immediately lock into the online platforms. We will bring your products, store it in our warehouses. When an order comes in, we'll do the full pick and pack of your orders and make sure that it reaches the customers. Now, a couple of key things that you need to keep in mind is BEA's support is a 7-day operation. Now, every day must make money, every day counts. So we have a 7-day operational process in place. We give the full pick and pack, the full administration. Now, one other very important thing. Now, you guys are in Kazakhstan or wherever you may be. Now, in Singapore, to join the online platform, you have to, number one, have to have a presence here. Your goods have to be here. Now, we all know it's costly, right? So you want to ask yourself, do you want to put in that much of an investment at the beginning itself? So if you don't want to, or you can't have that kind of means, then you would want to get onto this platform, because what we can do is we have the full support. We're literally your arms and legs. We're literally your presence here in Singapore. And one of the key things that we also let our clients know is that you can stay there and you have to have an account here in Singapore. We will even collect the payment for you and transfer the payment. Now, we work on a flat fee component, so there's no hidden charges, there's no additional charges, and these payment transfers can be made at your request in terms of how it should be, whether it should be immediate or whether you want to save on bank charges and collect it after 3 days or 3 months or something along those lines. We can do all of those, yeah? So that is pretty much the key components here. So the most important thing that you need to keep in mind is our model helps you come in with no physical setup. As you can see in that orange box there, no manpower issues because we take care of everything. You control 100% of your stocks. We will give you reports regular reports, so you know exactly what's moving, what's being sold, what is not being sold. You have 100% returns. So the only thing that comes out of the revenue that is taken away is the platform's cost. So if the platform is taking 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%, that amount is taken away. The remaining amount, every cent, if it's $183.37, you will get 130 the full amount, including the cents, of course, minus the bank charges. Now, if you look at the other component, you've got value added, your basic marketing and promotions. We have our own social media platforms. We have special arrangements with the respective online platforms. And when they give us an opportunity to promote, to advertise, we open that up to all of you. Okay, now you will have a dedicated warehouse space and a dedicated manpower. Rafi is one of the key reasons I've got Rafi on board as well. Is Rafi is a key account manager for any of you all who are coming on board. He will be working very closely with Ahmed and Sawat to make sure that you have the full support from all of us, right? And if you look at your product registration, one of the biggest challenges that many foreign companies have is to try and maneuver through the Singapore regulatory processes. It is quite complex in its own way, but because we've been doing this for a long time, we are able to make sure that we optimize the opportunity for you to get clearance, right? So approval and support from our various agencies, government agencies, these are things that we can do. And for this particular time period, we are looking at 0 registration fees or limited registration fees. So this translates to you making sure that you have very controlled or managed costs. Your cost is low, your opportunities for sales is high because we're reaching out to a very big platform. And the minute you get on board, as soon as possible, you're up and running. So you hit the ground running, basically. That's what we're looking at. So the incubator program is fantastic because of the way we allow you to manage your costs, test your products, see whether this business is sustainable or not, and the acceptance levels of your products. Once your product reaches a certain level of acceptance, once your product becomes known and it becomes popular, then we can help you look at the possibilities of you finding a distributor if that's what you want to do, or even if you want to consider, hey, you know what, I like the way the sales are going on, and I think maybe I want to now invest in coming and setting up my own business in Singapore. We're more than happy to look into that. And of course, without saying, the opportunity to increase your sales to Southeast Asia, okay, the 650 million population that I was talking to you about. So if you look at the logos below, those are the logos. Those are some of the prominent logos that are recognized here in Singapore. And if you happen to have some of these logos, then it basically tells you that you've received the mark of quality or you've received the regulatory clearances. And we will take each and every one of your products through these processes where necessary, right?
Thank you. Thank you, Sudeep. Very interesting. Here, of course, it's not the particular topic of today's for cereals, fruits and nuts, and oily seeds, but I want us to understand that some products require these regulatory permissions. Yes, Sudeep?
Yes,
and
true.
Here, of course, if you can give us some tips.
All right. Now, very importantly, I think the most important thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that all of you all have every opportunity to make sure that you get the regulatory clearances here in Singapore. Like I said, if you are able to sell in Singapore, it is a very strong indicative mark that your product is of a certain standard and a certain quality. So if you take a look at the categories, for example, basically what you need to take away from this is packaging is very important. And you got to make sure that your information. Now, a lot of people have asked us, look, you know, I have a fantastic product, I have a fantastic package, but it's in Kazakh, it's in my Kazakh language. Is that a problem? Not necessarily a problem. There are solutions in which certain things must be in English. Okay, and what Ahmed and Suat can do, along with our support, is to help you identify what are the key information, basic information like the nutritional value, what are the ingredients. If your product has got certain products which a lot of people might have sensitivity, that might be an important one. If you take a look at one very interesting logo that you want to try and achieve, and that is that healthier choice logo that you can see. It's a third logo at the under the tips. Now the healthier choice logo is one of the most important things that we want to do is to make sure that you get certain key logos or certain information in English. Other than that, we don't have to worry so much about whether it is in Kazakh language or not. The packaging is very critical. And one of the support that we give you, or one of the advice that we will help you with, is to identify your packaging. If it's good, if there are certain areas that needs to be adjusted or needs to be changed, we'll give you the recommendations on all of these things. The most important thing that you need to keep in mind is you need to have a minimum shelf life. In Singapore, it is always advisable to have maybe 1 or 2 years of shelf life. That will be very useful. If your products have got a shorter shelf life, does it mean that you cannot enter? No, you can, but it all depends on a case-to-case basis, which SOAT and BA can help you with. In terms of information, specific information that is important, there are certain SFA or Singapore Food Agency guidelines that are there. We will advise you on this, so not to worry.
Thank you, Sudeep. I think that gave a very good understanding about online e-commerce and what are the opportunities there. Very detailed. As always, Sudeep, you rock. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
thank you for the opportunity.
Let's move to another section. Of course, Singapore provides these opportunities, but how to bring these products from Kazakhstan to Singapore? Because actually for many Kazakhstani producers, Singapore is quite far. It's much easier to bring it to China, to Russia, to neighboring Central Asian countries. We also see that the export goes to Middle East, sometimes to Southeast Asia, but very rarely. And I think there are some challenges in why it happens, but Idahar Asia, it's a logistic company who operates between Central Asia and Southeast Asia, has solutions for that. That's why we're partnering with Idahar Asia, and Aziz Janbakiv, he is the founder. We're glad that Aziz have found time and joined us today. Aziz, the floor is yours.
Ahmed, thank you so much for the introduction. I will start from the current questions. We do have the big hub terminal in Almaty city. So it means that we can collect any cargo from any part of Kazakhstan, bring to Almaty, whereas we do have our own assets as a container equipment. So we can provide you the warehousing services, custom brokerage services, the further movements of the container from Almaty to Singapore. We do have the subsidies from China Railways. We do have some special agreements with the railway operators in Kazakhstan. We also using the Qingdao port as a main hub for the transit cargoes. And we can easily dispatch to Singapore, whereas there is a free trade zone, which allows us to store the cargo at the bonded warehouses, the special economic free trade zone warehouses. And after that, if you want to move this cargo further to Malaysia or any part of Southeast Asia, easily, I think we can move these cargoes. So in continuous of Sudava's explanation that the Singapore is a main gate to Southeast Asia, I think this is a great opportunity to move this all cargoes to any part of the Southeast Asia. The question is regarding why the logistics is so expensive. Yes, it is. The first current question, I think now, considering with the COVID-19 issues, because in most of the countries in the world now, it's a quarantine regime, so it means that the borders are closing or working some like from time to time. So meantime, most of the customers has only the solution to dispatch small parts of the cargoes by air, but the few airlines now operating actually in the world, not only in Kazakhstan. So that is why the price sharply increased, maybe 5-6 times more higher. Regarding the standard regime, yes, this is I think belongs to the promotion of the Kazakhstan export, but we're working on it, and I think we would interest most of the customers and exporters to increase the frequency of the dispatches and the shipments. So in this case, we want to present the special services of LCL service. It's part kind of like consolidation of the small cargoes inside of the containers, and we can provide the services plus all the consultancy services like customs brokerage, all the preparation of the necessary documents, and the whole chain of the logistics. Definitely we can provide as a one-stop solution to our all customers. This is the slide of the containers, just a short understanding what is the capacity, because we can accept any general cargoes. We are currently working on a reefer cargoes such as a meat or poultry, like seafoods, and some vegetables and fruits, which needs the temporary temperature regime. So currently this option is in processing, so we'll announce it later. Regarding all other products such as wheat and buckwheat and like macaroni products, sugar, flour, oil, sunflower oil, and so on like this, I think definitely the containers is quite convenient transport units, because the cargo would be stuffed in the same transport. It would be delivered to the final destination without any entrance or any part of the offices in the chain. This is quite also interesting for the heavy cargoes, because in comparison to the heavy cargoes, we use usually 20-feet containers, because the difference is only about, I think, 5,000-6,000 kgs. For the like volumetric cargoes, we use the 40-foot high cube containers, which allows us to stuff more cargo, such as cotton, for example, the wear, shoes, or any general cargo such as furniture and so on like this. So we do have all the proposing prices for the LCL services. We would be appreciated if the services would be developed so fast, and we also are interested in development of the Kazakhstan among Singapore and among Southeast Asian countries.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aziz. But always we receive questions. The question is, what are the route to bring the products from Kazakhstan to Singapore? And I can see that you have a nice drawing here. Could you please elaborate more on it?
Yes. So there is an opportunity for other Central Asian countries such as Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and other areas, because we do have also customs warehouse in Almaty, which means we can store the cargo more than 2 years. After that, we can stuff in the same container with other cargoes and dispatch to Singapore. So as you can see at the picture number 2, sales network, it means that we can collect any part of the cargoes to Almaty city as a main hub terminal. And after that, we stuff the containers and move by railway to China. Whereas you can see that the Dostik border, in Russian it calls Druzhba, Horgoz border, also the second part of the border with the cross border with China. And after that, it crossing to China, and from onwards, it moving to Qingdao port. In Qingdao port, we accept all the laden containers in railway, move them to the barge, and after the barge is moving to the Qingdao port. Whereas we stuff all the containers on the big vessels and dispatch to any part of Southeast Asia, but especially Singapore.
Okay, very nice. Thank you so much, Aziz. I think so next, and of course not the least, because we're talking about Kazakhstani expert, and we have invited the representative of Kazakhstan government agency that promotes exports of Kazakhstani products abroad is Kastrade, and we have IBEC with us, who will share what is Kazakh government is doing to support Kazakhstani producers to go abroad. IBEC shared with me that he has some issues with the camera. That's why he cannot turn on the camera. So IBEC, the floor is yours. We're really looking forward to hear you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ahmed. Dear participants of the webinar, let me welcome you all on the behalf of Minister of Trade and Integration and the subsidiary organization of joint stock company Kastrade, which I'm representing. So if you put all the supporting tools of the government together, we can see the following picture. So there are several institutions which are doing and which are making operations in terms of supporting exporters. So the first of all, starting from the last year, we have under our government special Ministry of Trade of Integration, which makes a formation for the state policy in the field of development, foreign trade, including the export. As we all know, export is one of the priority directions of our economy, and our president and the prime minister always reminds us on the importance of the export, and we have a big target of achieving $41 billion of processed export degree by 2025. So this is our big goal, and we are trying to achieve this level by applying different tools. And you also can see some other institutions, national institutions, including Chamber of Commerce Atomic, Development Bank of Kazakhstan, joint stock company Kazindustry, which are doing a great job and a big job in terms of doing reimbursement for the exporters' cost, including the transportation cost that Aziz was mentioning previously. So that supportive tool is really important for our exporters. Another lines of tools represented by Kazakh experts. So they, as it says, it's by name. So export insurance, lending, some financial tools are provided by the Kazakh expert. We also have wide a set of embassies and special trade offices of Kazakhstani government located in more than 60 countries all over the world, including the Singapore. And to tell in this context, the fact that we also been in touch with the embassy of Singapore, and we are trying to find the niches for our exporters to be represented in Singapore. And also we have the NATSEX, because we know that how important is that to comply with the certification requirements and the further documentation requirements in markets such as Singapore. So if I put few words about the Kastrade. So as you can see on the slide, we position ourselves as a single window for the exporters, because mainly some of the exporters, some of the entrepreneurs, they are doing their activities and they don't know fully, they are not fully informative about the means of support by the government. So for us, it's really important to spread this information and to be close to the exporters. In this direction of work, we have created a special Telegram channel, and there are more than 600 active exporters and specialists who are working in this field, who are discussing different topics and who are raising urgent issues on this Telegram, and we are trying to process this different level of issues immediately on that platform. We also escalate some of the questions to the government level, to the ministry level, to find some solution to the rising problems. And if we talk about measures of support provided by us, we do consulting and analytical support. This year we are doing work in terms of analyzing the markets, including the country markets. Also, we are looking to the analysis in the context of different industry. We're also trying to identify the main direction for export and potential for export in terms of regional specialization of the Kazakhstan as well. we support again. Let me one more time mention that informatively our exporters, and in this regard, most of the exporters, they are interested in a cost recovery, on a cost reimbursement, and we try to provide the actual information to them in this fact. And importantly, we also started to run the program called Export Accelerator, and I would be talking a bit later in detail about this program. So if I put together our tools in a more informative slide, so we have single portal for the exporters, so you can easily go to the export.gov.kz, which consolidates all the information and all the supportive tools provided by not only by Castrate, but also by other national institutions in one place, which is really important for, again, for the entrepreneurs, for the business community. And you can see here the, let me put you can see here the main activities done in this portal, and the portal is quite informative. It consolidates many analytics and information which is really relevant and which is really useful for most of the exporters. We also try to consolidate the data, actual data on this portal in the meaning of having the special list of active exporters in different fields. So today we are talking about food industry, which is the industry, renowned industry by Kazakhstani producers, because we know that our food industry products are in high demand, including in China, in European countries, and in Southeast Asia. And the stuff and the work which needs to be done is to arrange the most effective ways of doing these export activities. So that part of information regarding our Export.gov portal and Telegram, and again, there are some success cases put as an example, and we receive different level of appeals almost every day, and we try to solve them immediately for our exporters. And that's according to our exporters, it is really handy tool for them, and it becomes more clear what government is doing in the light of supporting the exporters. So this is Castrate Accelerator. Again, I would be talking a bit later. So, but the main idea of this program is to provide comprehensive support tool for the exporters. And one important fact is that we are trying to make a support for the exporters which are making an export for the processed goods. So you can see that this is a number which we are trying to achieve by 2025. And one more word about the interaction with the foreign institutions under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Kazakhstan. As I previously mentioned, we have embassies, and these embassies can be a great deal as a help for us in terms of knowing the demand, in terms of knowing the, let's say, the actual up-to-date information in those countries where we're trying to deliver our export products. And here, under the auspices of the Ministry of Trade and Integration, we can do a work in terms of analyzing this demand and in terms of finding the relevant exporters and the relevant entrepreneurs who can be ready to do export activities to those countries. And again, there are some success cases that have already happened. For example, recently we delivered to the United Arab Emirates beef and the sheep meat, and we also delivered to our partners in Afghanistan and Iran seed products and dove products. And again, some food products are in high demand by our European colleagues. So we are having this kind of, let me say it, one-off projects as well. And it's important to make it in a sustainable level all the time, consistently. So this is the accelerator program. Again, colleagues, you can get familiarized with all details in separate afterwards of this presentation, and you can ask me questions. But what are the current barriers and what are the main challenges faced by our exporters? So first of all, as it's been mentioned many times, it's a high cost of transaction cost for obtaining information regarding the export opportunities in different markets. So some exporters, they know about the quality of their product, but they don't really, they cannot really trigger the special tools in terms of making the export activities. Also, we can talk about competencies in terms of promoting their products. Again, this is really important because we know that each country have their specification, each country have their requirements. And when we talk about this in the context of COVID situation, we also know that many countries are now imposing the regionalization. They are trying to support their internal markets. And we, again, should be let me say, informed about all the news which is happening in the foreign markets. And they definitely have face multiple barriers not only in terms of documentation, but also barriers, let me say, for example, regarding the customs, regarding the crossing the borders, regarding the special internal rules of those countries. Again, these are all face challenges by our exporters, and one by one we are trying to solve all these barriers and the challenges, and we are trying to create informative platform when every exporter can find the useful bit of information for them. And this program of Castrate Accelerator aims to support these exporters from the time of idea to do export till the time when they sign the export contracts. So let me put this into more detail, because this year we are running this program for the food producers. So again, this goes in line with today's webinar, and taking this opportunity, I would like to invite all the producers of the Kazakhstani products and the processed goods of food industry to do export and to take part in this program, because program is fully guaranteed by the government, and it's a free program for the business representatives. And we again, this slide just shows the example of products. Again, it's not limited only by these products, and it's not really limited only by these companies. These are the companies who are already doing a great job in terms of export activities, and we all know how much is that important to put the activities of food producers into the export line. And this program considers that you will be fully supported by the experts of our organization, of the Kazakhstani expert. You will be also provided the opportunity to take part in international fairs, international exhibitions, which is really important. And importantly, you will be offered a certain level of export contracts. So once you are chosen, once you go through all the steps of this program, at the end, for this year, we are trying to promote about 30 and 40 exporting companies. Importantly for us, we also have a KPI for making export activities happen for the new exporting companies. So I hope I could explain the main lines of my presentation. Again, if you have some questions, you always can go to our portal, and you also can go to our Telegram channel, which is a very interactive tool.
Amazing, amazing, Aybek. I really happy to hear that the Kazakhstan government is promoting opportunities for producers, especially in food industry. And it's so coincidental that our company and Kazakh government, Castrate, is focused on food industry. Because actually we understand that in pandemic situation, food will move. People maybe is restricted to move, but people needs to eat. That's why we are actually focused on food industry. And your presentation was amazing, by the way. And I think we should find more ways of collaboration, especially if it is Singapore or Southeast Asia.
Yeah, we are always open. Ahmed, let me add one more information, because I mentioned the food industry as a potential participants of Castrate Accelerator, but again, it's not limited only with the food industry, and the food industry is not only for this year, but for the following year, it is also possible. So we are not limiting ourselves in terms of by the time and by certain industry, but in terms of the focus, again, food industry will be the main object of the focus for us for this year. Mm-hmm.
I see, amazing. So we haven't heard from Rafi, yes? Rafi is a colleague of Sudave. He's actually a key account manager of Business Engineers Asia, and he works with foreign clients and knows all the specifics about the commission, not commission, but mostly what are the uh, fees from online stores to place the products. So Rafi,
Yes,
quite often we receive a question.
sure.
If we place a product on Redmart, what are the range of revenues of sales we need to share with Redmart? I mean, for example,
Okay.
I'm a Kazakhstani food producer, and I want to bring to Singapore, and I want to bring a Redmart. How much I should allocate for that?
Okay, so basically you have to, before you want to have a price that you want to intend to list, you definitely need to list down your, your air shipment charges, some of the sellers actually, they include distribution charges as well, just in case, after the incubation period, you want to hand over the products or the business to the distributor. So they would have to consider all the other external factors. So, some of them have got duty taxes, GST, and they'll share all these details, and they come out with a very good price that they want to list on Redmart. As well, I mean, from our side, we also do market research. So what we actually do is we try to compare that price to the existing sellers in Singapore. So for example, if someone is selling 250 grams of honey, so we try to do a market research, and we'll try to say, okay, if you want to list this at this price, it will be classified under the premium category. If you intend to put it for your mid tier, so this is the requested or recommended price. So it's on a case-to-case basis actually. So some of the products do not have any taxes involved and all those stuff. So we will try to come up with a way whereby, since it's an introductory product, we do not want to list it at a premium level, but because we want to gain the attention. So we will consider all the marketing factors, and then we'll come up with a very suitable price. And also we have to include the commission that Redmart takes, because they obviously, it's a flat fee for them. They do not take any other charges. There's no listing fee. There's no marketing fee for them. So they only work on a commission basis. So we will tell all our clients to consider 25% to 30%. So the advantage is what BAA has with Redmart is actually we have been working with them since day one. So we have some kind of special privileges that, our clients who work with us, they can tap onto. So
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rafi. Thank you for your answer. I think we have one question from the audience, and this question is: as far as I'm aware, Singapore maintains a list of allowed listed countries. If you're not on that list, much easier for local companies to import goods. Does Kazakhstan intend to get on that list? I mean, if you ask me, I know that, of course, just recently, I mean, last year, Singapore signed trade agreement with countries in Eurasian Economic Zone. And right now, each country specifically in this zone have to ratify agreement. And at that time, it will be on the list. But frankly, I'm not sure when it will happen, but let's hope. I mean, this year may be harder because of the pandemic. So hopefully in this year, maybe last year, next year. But of course, it's the question to embassy. Maybe next time we will also invite representatives of embassy to talk about that. So we heard from all the speakers, starting from our partners, Business Engineers Asia, where Sudev in detail explained the benefits of online stores, what are the procedures, what they can support on. Then we heard from Aziz from Idahar Asia, how the products can be brought from Kazakhstan to Singapore. And I think in terms of logistic costs, we had only one question on that, and Aziz were able to reply, and we hope that maybe soon the logistic costs can go down. However, it's not a challenge it's a challenge for food producers because it's affect their cost, but Castrate is willing to support it, to subsidize it. And so please take that advantage. And also we heard, of course, the last from Ibek, where he in detail explained what government can do for food producers. in Kazakhstan to go to other markets. So I want to thank everyone, and let me just very quickly wrap up and say that Sawa Strategy is a Singapore-based company. We support this year food industry companies to enter Southeast Asia and Central Asia. So how we do that? We do it not alone because we are quite a new company. Yeah, we are ambitious, but we have to work with the partners. On one side, in Singapore, our partner is Business Engineers Asia, who has relationship, already work and know how to do, how to bring products on shelves of Redmart, Zmart, and NTUC Fair Price. And so they didn't share, but recently Italian products came through Business Engineers Asia, correct?
That's right.
Also, yeah, Business Engineers Asia works with Enterprise Singapore to bring more products. So Dave was quite humble and shy to talk about it, but actually they do a great job. They also brought Ukrainian products here to Singapore. That's how we know each other. And of course, we have to partner with logistic company to make sure that clients get the best price, um, the best customized approach, and it's done through Idahar Asia. So I really appreciate Aziz for his time to do that. And from government support Castrate, we are not collaborating on contractual basis. We, I hope maybe in the future, because still Castrate have to understand whether our company can be a good partner or not. But it's okay, we can wait, not an issue at all. But I'm glad that Castrate IBEC was able to share more. And in the future, we'll have a third webinar, and let's see what will be our research telling us, but we'll host it in August. Thank you so much, and we're wrapping, and see you next month.